Hi, this is Magda from the Wnętrza channel. In this episode, I'll show you a unique two-level apartment where space and natural light play the main roles.
Hello, my name is Marta. I invited you today to our small 56 square meter apartment. This apartment is special for us because we moved here from a house that was over 100 square meters, so it was really quite a challenge to fit everything in. We moved in as a family of 3, while our son was still studying here, knowing that in a year he would be going to university outside the city. So adapting this apartment wasn't easy for us. We really had to change the whole layout and adjust it to our needs. And now I invite you to see how it turned out.
We start, as usual, at the entrance, and right here we have a picture, a canvas. In a frame, or actually in a double frame, because there are boxes hidden inside. Look, these boxes are very deep, and honestly, you definitely couldn't hide them with just these 2 frames. However, thanks to the fact that there are also slats here, which are also quite deep, everything fit together nicely. And now the whole thing looks beautiful, and the boxes are still easily accessible. Next, we have the bathroom. We'll take a look inside at the very end, and here there's also a small dresser and a gallery of frames with family photos. And the white shallow frames are nicely combined with the black deep ones, which together create a really nice arrangement. As for the dresser, it fits perfectly in this corner behind the door. There's just the right amount of space for it here. And pay attention, because I often mention this, that the placement of the door has a big impact on how we can arrange the space. When they're right in the corner, we can't put anything next to them, but if they were moved about 60 centimeters away from the corner, we could easily fit even a wardrobe there. However, in this case, there was no need to put a wardrobe in this spot. A dresser fit perfectly, and the wardrobe is on the other side. And look, here we have doors covering the entire wall. It's a custom-made wardrobe. And this first section is for jackets. At the bottom, there are shelves for shoes, and at the top, there are hooks, so you can quickly hang up your jacket without needing to use hangers. And that was actually because the closet in this spot is shallower. But this other part, the utilities section, is definitely much deeper. And what's more, outlets were also installed here so that all the devices that need charging can be plugged in right away. So it's not only a convenient space for storing all these devices, but they're also very easy to access, because you just need to open the front in the hallway and everything is right at hand. On this side of the built-in, there's a mirror that beautifully reflects the light from the window, since it's right across from it. And on this side, there's the refrigerator. Here we already have the kitchen cabinetry, and over there the chimney is just nicely enclosed. The living area is an open space with a high ceiling, lit both by a large window with access to the balcony in the living room and by 2 skylights, Velux, above us. Their role is huge, as you will see in a moment. But now, pay attention to how beautifully they light up both the upper part of this space and the depth of the room. Thanks to them, we can enjoy sunlight even on winter days like today. In the central part of the living room, there is a large comfortable sofa that also has a sleeping function. You can unfold it, and in front of it, there are 2 small tables of different heights. Thanks to this, you can arrange them so that they overlap and take up a little less space. And on the other hand, we can move them to 2 different ends of the sofa, so when 2 people are sitting, each will have their cup of tea close by. A decorative lamp hangs above the lounge area, which had to be attached way up high, all the way by the skylight windows, so it needed a very long cable. There was originally a plan to set up an office in the apartment too. However, at first it turned out that there are so many bends, slopes and edges here that it wouldn't necessarily look harmonious. That's why the wall was decorated with slats, and here behind the television they also serve an additional function. They hide the cables behind the television from the staircase side. The interiors of this apartment were designed in a modern style, but based on a classic color palette. And now I invite you to the kitchen. Let's see how it was arranged. In the kitchen, we have countertops on both sides, here a peninsula, cabinetry, along the wall, and to start with, of course, we have drawers. Look how nicely everything is in jars here. See how all the spices are labeled. Next, we have the cooktop, and underneath it, the oven. But not directly under the cooktop, it's a bit lower, because here the cutlery drawer isn't at the top. And you could say that having the oven so low isn't very convenient, but the truth is we don't reach for the oven several times a day. Well, maybe some people do, but many people use it only once every few days, so having it lower doesn't have to be that inconvenient. But on the other hand, having an extra drawer right at hand can definitely be really useful. Here we have more drawers, and on top with I was impressed by the knife stand because it makes great use of space. We have room for both the large ones and the smaller ones. Next, there's the dishwasher, and at the end, under the sink, there's a kick drawer with bins. Of course, there are bins for sorting. The sink itself is very interesting because it has a kind of built-in shelf inside, which is really handy when washing a large pot. We still have a large basin and plenty of space for washing dishes, but on the other hand, we can put sponges here or place dish soap. And thanks to that, these things aren't out in the open, but at the same time, you don't have to reach all the way to the bottom for them. And take a look at the upper cabinetry. These are cabinet fronts that aren't pushed to open. Instead, there's a little groove here that lets you grab the front. Sometimes the fronts are made longer, but when they're flush with the cabinetry, it's this kind of groove. Here, it allows you to use them comfortably. Behind the sofa, there's a dining area with a small round table, which can be extended. And here is the entrance to the room, which I warmly invite you to now. Until recently, it was my son's room, but he has already moved out. On this side, there are two wardrobes from a popular chain store, which are designed to have doors that go all the way from the bottom to the top. Which I regret a little, because I like having direct access to the drawer, and not just drawers hidden behind the door. And unfortunately, with these kinds of doors, there is no choice. However, the idea here was to be able to move the television across this spot, and in fact, there used to be a television here as well. Then the shelves can be mounted higher, the electricity is already routed here, but of course in that case, tall doors definitely won't work. And that's why these were cut, and the carpenter who made the custom furniture covered them so they would look nice. And now we have this unique wardrobe, which can also serve as a television cabinet. We'll go upstairs. I would like to highlight two more important issues that not everyone is aware of. First of all, skylight windows let in more light than facade windows, and the difference can even be twice as much. With the same size, skylight windows illuminate the interior more evenly and provide a greater range of light deeper into the room. Why is this important? In one study, it was found that companies recorded a 15% increase in productivity when employees were moved to buildings with better daylight illumination. In another study, students taking the same test in well-lit conditions achieved results that were 7 to 18% better than those who sat in dark rooms. Poor lighting can also contribute to vision problems. You probably already intuitively feel how important natural light is for our well-being and cognitive abilities, but that's not all, and this next part might surprise some of you. Access to sunlight during the day also affects our sleep. I've already told you more than once how important it can be to darken your bedroom for a comfortable sleep. However, you should also know that natural light affects our circadian rhythm and the secretion of hormones and neurotransmitters that are responsible. We should make the most of sunlight as a source of light in our interiors, and that's the second important point. Let me know in the comments if you were aware of this, and what kind of light can we expect depending on the location of the window? Windows facing west provide intense, strong lighting in the afternoons, while east-facing windows do so in the morning. South-facing windows like the ones here provide even strong lighting. almost all day long, while north-facing windows let in more diffused, softer light, providing cooler lighting. As I mentioned earlier, in this interior, Velux skylights play a very important role, bringing in light from above, which is much more intense and spreads more evenly throughout the space than the light coming in through the windows in the walls. Thanks to this, the interior is brighter and more pleasant to experience. And here, as I mentioned at the beginning, their role is even greater because they are the only source of natural light for the upstairs bedroom. A well-designed access to daylight is not just a matter of aesthetics, but above all, quality of life. It's something that affects our mood, daily comfort, and above all, our health, often more than we realize. If you want to learn more, I'll leave a link in the video description, and now I invite you to take a look at the bedroom. The bedroom is open to the living room, and of course the main feature here is the large bed. Behind the curtain, there's a walk-in closet. The alcove is small and has a U-shaped built-in closet. Some people don't like corners because they're a bit harder to access, but with this arrangement, you can fit a lot more clothes here than if everything was laid out flat. When the curtain is drawn, it gives the impression that there's a window here, but nothing could be further from the truth. However, a bathroom could be placed here because there's a shaft, plumbing, and access to water in this spot. And by the way, this is the shaft I mentioned earlier. In the kitchen, where it was enclosed by the fridge and a wall in the hallway, so now there's a sink in the kitchen below me, and there used to be a fridge down here. So, as you can see, the upper floor is a bit shifted compared to the ground floor of the apartment, and it has also been expanded a bit because in the original design there were stairs here, and this floor area was a bit smaller. However, to make the bedroom comfortable and spacious, the stairs were moved and the floor was extended. And you could actually make even more space here. You could build over the living room, create, an extra workspace or even a bathroom upstairs, but there's really no need for that. Instead, we can enjoy a wonderful, beautifully lit space. Finally, we'll go to the bathroom, but before we go downstairs, just take a look at this wonderful gallery here along the stairs, featuring the smallest member of the household, the doggy Lucia. The bathroom is 3.5 meters and it was arranged in such a way that everything fits and even everything is full-sized. There was no need to resort to a mini sink. And since we're already by the sink, take a look at the built-in cabinet underneath, which was made by a carpenter. And it has not only drawers right under the sink, but also an extra cabinet here in the corner. Because we all know that extra shelves like these always come in handy in the bathroom, and it doesn't make sense to leave empty space under the countertop in this spot. Behind me is the shower. It's very spacious from wall to wall, and here the toilet is hidden behind the built-in unit with the washing machine, and you can see that the washing machine is elevated. It's not placed on the floor, it's raised higher so you don't have to bend down to use it. And down here, there's simply a drawer for laundry items. Under the shower, there's a really nice shelf for cosmetics that's almost as wide as the shower, so you can fit a lot here. It's enclosed on this side, so small items you put there aren't out in the open, which makes everything look a bit tidier. There are holes at the bottom, so water drips through and nothing stays there. Little things like accessories really affect how comfortable it is to use different rooms, so it's worth putting some effort into choosing them. That's all for this video. Thank you for staying until the end. If you want to learn more about Velux roof windows, be sure to check the links in the description. And now I'm waiting for your comments. Give me a thumbs up. I hope you're already subscribed to Nensha Zevnensha, preferably with the bell on so you'll get notified when new videos come out, and see you next time. Bye bye.